Bijan Robinson was mocked to Philadelphia at number 10 in the 2023 NFL Draft. Hassan Reddick probably should win Defensive Player of the Year, and Derek Carr wants out of the Raiders. Where could he go? Could be in the NFC East. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Thursday. Today is a crazy show, a lot going on. There's a lot of articles today that are intended to draw our attention. Will they actually come true? Well, we can debate that amongst ourselves. But let's begin with the mock drafts for Philadelphia and the rest of the NFL. Then we're going to get into Hassan Reddick, Jalen Hurts getting disrespected, as he usually does, especially with the postseason quarterbacks, and finish up with our NFL national story of the day regarding Derek Carr basically demanding a trade and wanting out of Las Vegas. Okay, let's start with the crazy stuff. Maybe the reason why you clicked on this video. Here's the Draft Network's latest mock draft, and where they have Philadelphia going at number 10 with their pick is... it's interesting. Let's just say that. So, you see the picture here. If you don't know who that is, we'll show you in just one second. Let's just go through the top 10 quickly. It's got some dramatic stuff here. Number 1 would be Indianapolis. That's obviously via a trade, and they would give up a first-round draft pick this year, a 2023 first-round draft pick, a 2024 first-round draft pick, a lot to move up and take a quarterback. This is where you already know this mock draft is crazy. It's Will Levis from Kentucky over Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. If you were a Colts fan, you would... be very upset with this. Let's just be very clear. But again, trying to get some headlines here. Let's keep going. Houston, Bryce Young, no shocker there. Arizona, Will Anderson, the edge rusher from Alabama. I don't hate that either, simply due to the fact that they are kind of stuck with Kyler Murray unless someone wants to trade for his ridiculous contract and torn ACL out on that. CJ Stroud at Carolina at 4. That's pretty obvious, although obviously via Chicago there, so a couple of moves here. Seattle at 5, taking Jalen Carter, who many people think might be the best player in the draft, alongside Will Anderson. Detroit taking Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback out of Oregon. The Raiders taking Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle out of Georgia. Tyree Wilson, the pass rusher. Very interesting option for Philadelphia at 10, by the way. I'll just throw out... watch out for Tyree Wilson hype to come over the next couple of months here. He goes to Atlanta. Myles Murphy, the edge rusher from Clemson to Chicago via Carolina and the trade. And boom, there's your drama right there. If the rest of the top 10 wasn't crazy enough, Philadelphia, Bijan Robinson at number 10, the running back out of Texas. Now, this has been kind of a hot topic amongst, Eagle fans, at least on Twitter. A lot of people thinking, upgrade the running back spot, let Miles Sanders go, get Bijan Robinson. Here's what they say, quote, "The Eagles are legitimate Super Bowl contenders and can act like one. Sure, many will scoff at a running back being drafted this high, but Bijan Robinson is a special talent. Robinson is a rare combination of size, vision, playmaking ability that can be a game changer for the Eagles offense. He already earned one top 10 overall grade from our scouting staff, and I expect the others to follow suit this spring during cross-checks. Robinson will make a marked difference to a team with a Lombardi trophy at the forefront of its mind. There is no other player available that boosts Philadelphia's 2024 Super Bowl odds more than Robinson." They make a good point. They drive a hard bargain. Now, this all would depend on what Philadelphia would have done internally free agent-wise. Are they re-signing James Bradbury? Are they re-signing C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Are they, keeping Brandon Graham for another year? A lot of question marks on the defensive side of the football means that you can only do this if you answer all of those. If they need a cornerback, you can't take a running back at number 10. And I've talked about it before. Running backs inside the top 10 are historically a bad deal because eventually, one, they're getting running back first-round money, which is a lot of money. And running backs have a very short shelf life in the National Football League. So I get this idea, and a lot of people, you guys comment down below and say, Thomas, this would make Philadelphia's offense that much scarier. Robinson and Hurts, I agree, but you would have to solve a lot of the other upcoming 2023 roster issues before even thinking about this. But it's fun to do, and with the Eagles on kind of a mini bye week this week, let's at least talk a little bit of NFL draft. A lot of you guys will ask, what do they have Philadelphia doing with their second first-round draft? Because we have two. Well, they have Isaiah Foskey, the edge rusher out of Notre Dame, who is probably the 4th or 5th best pass rusher to go in the first round. Maybe an early second-round grade on this guy, but they would get an edge, right? So that would kind of, make some people happy who think we need an edge rusher and a cornerback being kind of the two main, I'd say, positions of need for Philadelphia. Let me know what you guys think about Robinson, though, inside the top 10. That would be... it'd be fun, and, maybe he balls out and makes Philadelphia even more dangerous. I don't know. It's just fascinating to see. I will go ahead and quickly just show you this CBS article, and I think this is fascinating because it takes all of the recent mock drafts and shows you what they have Philadelphia doing at number 10, just to showcase some more likely opportunities, right? Because that was just the Draft Network, and obviously when mock draft season, there's like 8 different websites that have mock drafts every single week. But CBS Sports has Myles Murphy, the edge rusher from Clemson. Again, another hot name, would be a very good option, I think, for Philadelphia. Cam Smith, the cornerback out of South Carolina from Bleacher Report, another good option, especially if you need a cornerback. USA Today has Kelee Ringo, who got kind of worked a little bit, I would say, at times this year. I'm not saying Ringo is a bad player at all. He's very, very good, but he did get a little bit by Marvin Harrison Jr. in that semifinal game, but he's definitely a first-round draft pick. Obviously, there's the Draft Network, Bijan Robinson. PFF has a safety in Brian Branch out of Alabama, who I like a lot, but you see the emphasis here. If C.J. Gardner-Johnson departs in free agency, I would rather have Gardner-Johnson than Brian Branch. So there you go. We're going to do a lot more draft stuff here on the Thomas Mott Show when it's actually draft season. I'm sure I'm going to see comments down below. Thomas, the draft isn't for another couple of months. Talk about the playoffs. I'm going to, but there's not much going on for Philadelphia in the playoffs right now because we don't play for another week and a half because we have the number 1 overall seed in the NFC, meaning that not a lot of drama this week as Philadelphia will practice today, but not expecting to hear a lot of updates until tomorrow, so subscribe and stay tuned for that. Quickly here, the Vig It app. I mentioned I have a fantasy sports betting league right now, totally free for everybody to go ahead and sign up. Link is down below. Wanted to quickly mention that the leaderboard is taking shape, and if you are the number 1 overall cumulative ranking winner, you will get an Eagles jersey because it goes through now to the Super Bowl. So if you haven't joined the Vig It app, totally free, just a brand new fantasy sports betting app. A lot of fun to kind of make some fake bets and win some fake coins that don't really, take your own money to do, but a really fun thing to do. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch some previous shows, go down below and click the link. All right, other Eagle stuff here, not related to the NFL draft. How about this one? Bleeding Green Nation, Hassan Reddick named NFC Defensive Player of the Month. If there was a dark horse Defensive Player of the Year candidate, someone who is not named Nick Bosa, because it's probably going to be Nick Bosa, it is Hassan Reddick. And honestly, you can make the argument it should be Hassan Reddick over a Nick Bosa. He has had, think about this, last 6 weeks, he's had 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 18 tackles, and a fumble recovery. And he's had a 3-game stretch with consecutive multi-sack performances, becoming the first Eagle player since 2011 to accomplish that feat. He also won NFC Defensive Player of the Week back in Week 4 after terrorizing Jacksonville to the tune of 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. Now, again, right now, he's only, a sack and a half? It might be 2 sacks behind Nick Bosa in terms of overall sack numbers, and sure, Nick Bosa is a really good player, but the fact that no one even mentions Hassan Reddick when you talk about Defensive Player of the Year, and yet he basically has the same numbers as Nick Bosa, is pretty ridiculous and very bizarre. He's not going to win it. I mean, seriously, it's going to be Nick Bosa. But you talk about a year of all years. This guy, Hassan Reddick, has been an absolute monster and 100% deserves everybody's recognition. He's going to be probably the biggest X factor on the Eagle defense going into the postseason. If you're Tom Brady or Dak Prescott or Daniel Jones and you're worried about one Eagle defensive player, it's this guy because he can ruin your day very, very quickly and really help out Philadelphia in terms of a chance of winning a Super Bowl. Thumbs up for Reddick being just an absolute monster. Okay, Liberty Line. This was very interesting. This is a fun stuff here by Brian Cass of Liberty Line. How about the headline? Jalen Hurts disrespect. ESPN's Max Kellerman places Daniel Jones ahead of Eagles quarterback and playoff quarterback rankings. Now, I looked over this, and the one problem is I didn't actually get to see this specific, Get Up? It looks like a Get Up studio here in terms of what they were actually saying. But if this is actually Max Kellerman's top quarterbacks in the 2022 playoffs, what is going on, right? So tier 1 is Mahomes, okay? Tier 2 is Burrow and Allen, okay? How about tier 3? Herbert, Brady, and who's that? Daniel Jones? It's almost as if Max Kellerman completely forgot the Philadelphia Eagles existed. And as you scroll through the Liberty Line article, there isn't anything in terms of exactly why he did. He did say, quote, "I didn't put Hurts up because he's banged up. He didn't look good last week and was out 2 previous weeks. If he was 100%, he'd be in tier 2. But, that doesn't make any sense. You're saying that he was banged up a couple of weeks ago, but the playoffs are not a couple of weeks ago. They're, for Philadelphia, 2 weeks from now, 2 Sundays from now, and yet you leave him out? And plus the idea of Daniel Jones ahead of some other quarterbacks on this list, ahead of Trevor Lawrence, ahead of Tua and Lamar. Now, again, you're talking about injured. They actually are injured, so I get that point. Dak Prescott? I take Dak over Daniel Jones. I think most people would too. I mean, this might be a hot take. I don't think so. Geno Smith? We're talking really close there in terms of who's there. Brock Purdy's at least played better than Daniel Jones the past 5 weeks, so you guys know I'm not a big Brock Purdy guy, at least not yet. Kirk Cousins? Again, like, we're doing this. We're saying Daniel Jones is ahead of all those players? Max said some crazy stuff. That's pretty nuts looking at that tier list there. Yeah, tier 2, you got to put Hurts. Even injured, you got to put him in there. Come on, Max. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So that's what I'm here for, guys. I'm here to point out some of the ridiculous stuff that national media people say all the time, mainly because national media people don't watch every single game. You have to remember that. Just like you and I don't watch every single game, it's impossible for every single ESPN talking head, Fox Sports talking head, to watch every second of every single game. They miss stuff, and the Hurt stuff is pretty obvious. Okay, NFL national story of the day. This was the big one of today, January 12th, and that is Derek Carr posting a Apple Notes, basically trade me sort of manifesto, whatever the word is there, on his official Twitter account, and the report coming from Ian Rappaport, quote, Derek Carr's time as a member of the Las Vegas Raiders appears to be coming to an end as the franchise is set to begin the process of evaluating the quarterback's trade market, sources told Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. Rappaport notes Carr has a no-trade clause in his contract, meaning he would need to be part of the Raiders process. He's on a 3-year, $121.5 million contract, $40 million fully guaranteed on February 15th, meaning a trade will happen before that. Now, why is this important? Colin Cowherd had a great segment yesterday looking at the quarterback market tiers, showing you potential teams who could need a quarterback. You can take some of these away because he's putting everybody in there, but you can basically figure out where Derek Carr is going to go pretty darn quickly, and I'll just go through this very, very easily. Right now, the teams that will not be getting a quarterback, especially not Derek Carr, the Lions are not going to do it, the Falcons are not going to do it, the Panthers are not going to do it. You make the case that really the Colts and the Texans will not as well. All of those teams, especially the Colts and the Texans and the Carolina Panthers, are going to draft a quarterback, right? They all are going to have a shot at Levis, at Stroud, at Young. They're most likely all going to go that way. You don't want to go ahead and bring in a Derek Carr when you could be passing up on the next Josh Allen, right? So those guys will not take Derek Carr. Now, the Saints, you could make an argument, but the Saints don't have draft picks. So we have their draft pick. How are the Saints going to be able to go ahead and get Derek Carr unless the Raiders are willing to take a second-round draft pick? If that's the case, maybe. We already talked about the Lions. They really, really like what Jared Goff did. Jared Goff had like 13 passing touchdowns, 0 picks the final quarter of the season, really playing good football, winning in big games, and GM just said they love him. I think big-time option right there, mentioned at the very beginning of the show, got to think about the Washington Commanders. You got to think about him coming to the NFC East. The Commanders roster is really good. They have a really good defensive line. They have a really good receiving core. They have a really good running back in Bijan Robinson, and they just need some steady quarterback play. If they bring in a pretty good offensive-minded head coach, I think like a Matt LaFleur, who just got let go from the Jets, you bring in Derek Carr and Matt LaFleur, I think it could be a really, really good combo. Not good for Philadelphia, but a really dangerous team in the NFC East. Patriots and Mac Jones. Mac Jones just needs an offensive coordinator. He's fine. Obviously, in terms of the Raiders, they're going to be trading him. Giants, I don't see that happening. I think Daniel Jones is going to get another shot, whether you franchise tag him or not. And the Bucs are going to be a mess. Derek Carr would not want to go to the Bucs post Tom Brady. They have no money and a bunch of really old free agents that they're not going to be able to afford. The Bucs are going to go from like playoff team, Super Bowl team a couple years ago. They're going to be back down to the bottom of the NFC South really quickly. The only other team I didn't mention, the Jets. If I had to put money on it right now, Washington and the Jets are the two most likely options because Carr wants to try to win a Super Bowl. He wants to win right now. And if he wants to win right now, you have to go to at least a decent roster. Both of those teams have very good rosters, but really bad quarterbacks. However, to put a bow on it all, look around the AFC. You go to the AFC, or you stay in the AFC, much like he was with the Raiders, you got to play Mahomes, you got to play Allen, you got to play Burrow, you got to play Lamar Jackson, possibly whenever he's healthy, you got to play Justin Herbert, Tua whenever he's healthy, possibly. All the good quarterbacks are in the AFC. You come over here to the NFC, sure, you play Jalen Hurts twice every single year in your division, but who else is really there? Rodgers is probably going to go ahead and retire. Kirk Cousins shrinks in big games. Dak Prescott throws too many interceptions. Who am I missing? Brock Purdy? Unless Brock Purdy officially announces himself as the second coming of Tom Brady, the NFC is quarterback weak. Kyler Murray? Geno Smith? Like, what are we doing here? Jared Goff? I like him, but he's not Josh Allen. I would suggest, boom, call it right now, pre-February 15th. But in the next month, he's going to be a Washington Commander. Just write that one down. We'll see if I'm right. Come back to the video and tell me I'm wrong if I am. All right. Let's go ahead and end today's show. Plenty of stuff tomorrow. I expect updates on Hurts and Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson was seen at practice today working out on the side which can be good or bad. I think we'll get a better update this afternoon and obviously early tomorrow. So subscribe. We'll have you guys for that one, that update as well. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been Thomas Mott Show.